Today, an ongoing look at how the shortage of black single men is affecting the lives of single blacks. The problem from the male point of view on today's edition of Folks. Hello everyone, and welcome to Folks. Last week we took a look at how the shortage of black single men over 30 was affecting the lives of single black women. Today we'll talk with several single black men over 30 about how being a rarity is affecting their lives. But first, a look at what some black singles have to say about dating and marriage. Last week we talked to singles at Southern University about how they were coping with the shortage of single black men. But does the scarcity of single men make women less choosy about whom they seek to date and marry, and men more selective?
Look sales is something to do with, but I really think you can't judge the cover. You have to really get to the inside portion of the young lady. I really look for looks, as any other man would, but it's superfluous. I really don't think looks have a major role in it. I believe it's the heart which gathers my attention.
Looks are a contributing factor, but depending on the physical attributes of the woman and her overall personality, well, what can I say?
Well, the first thing I look for when I'm looking for a prospective mate is the degree of respect that he's showing me. I feel that's the first and foremost thing. It's most important. It's so many things that a lot of women don't look for first. The first thing they look for may be looks or money or profession or what he's driving, but that's not what's most important in the long run.
I look for personality for once. I think she's got to have a positiveness about herself. And I look for a nice way how she carries herself and some of the things, how she approached me. And, you know, there's so many ways that you can, see things in a woman that you can like. But I think the most important key is her religious background. Because I feel if a female has a real good religious background, you're going to have a good relationship. Because anything that goes through God, I think it comes through God to me. And I think that makes a relationship real nice.
The first thing that I look for in a man is his body. I like a man to be real masculine, huge, bulking muscles and stuff like that. Then I look for intelligence. I want him to be real intelligent, so therefore he can communicate with me with the different types of activities that I'm in. I need someone who can be versatile and stuff. Next I look for is to see if he has money in his back pocket, because I like a man to wine and dine me, so therefore he must have money to do those kind of things. And that's about all that I look for in a man.
We also talked with singles at Derringer's, a popular night spot in Baton Rouge. Opinions there were as varied and individual as those at Southern. Among these singles, the shortage of available men made little or no difference in the qualities they looked for in a mate.
There are three main qualities I look for in a lady. She has to be able to read, write, and cook. And I can be able to handle the rest.
I like a mannerable man. Looks aren't that important. I think looks are a luxury as far as a man is concerned. Mannerism is basically it. If they know how to treat a nice young lady.
I look for a very mature woman, one who knows what she wants. Basically that's it. Nothing special.
Intelligence, romance. A romantic kind of person, a little whining, dining, fun times.
How about for somebody that you would marry?
A good job. But mainly a good job in intelligence.
Although the shortage of single men seemed to have little effect on what our singles found desirable, some men feel that being rare allows them more freedom to pick and choose among women.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Okay, a lot of us look at women from various vantage points. I see them from the front view, the side view, and the rear view. And there's some other views that my friend may have.
It should, but apparently women don't take that to mind. They feel just as unthreatened as before.
Is that good or bad?
I don't think it's either which way. I think it's fairly the same. I think that women should realize that we are in demand and that they should kind of cherish us, but they don't.
As we stated last week, the statistics indicate that the shortage of single black men is real. In 1960, there were 100 black males with a college education for every 156 females. In 1970, the ratio rose to 100 males to 161 females. In 1982, among blacks 35 to 54 years of age with 5 years or more of college, there were 52,000 eligible women for only 15,000 eligible men. All of this contributes heavily to the demise of the traditional black family. To many black women over 35, the statistics ring true. It does get a little harder to find men to date and marry. But does this mean that life is a banquet for single black men? Are they really playing hard to get? Here to discuss the man shortage from the man's point of view are Will Johnson III, a sales representative for Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company. He's never married. He enjoys reading and officiating high school athletics. He is active in his church. Also with us, Bachelor number 2, Ron Abernathy, who is the associate head basketball coach at LSU. He enjoys singing and acting, and he is active in his church. He sings in the choir. Bachelor number 3 is Chuck Siler, program coordinator for the Division of Black Culture for the state of Louisiana. He is an artist and a writer, and he enjoys singing, dancing, and tennis. Welcome to folks. Will, being scarce in America, do you feel like this gives you an advantage over the single women who are looking for mates?
Of course it does. Whenever there's a surplus and I'm able to choose, I think I have a better chance at making the correct choice. And that's beneficial not only to me, but to the person that I do choose.
Well, what are you looking for in a woman?
Well, basically, I believe what the Bible says about being equally yoked. I want someone that's compatible with me, and I'm an aggressive person. I have goals in life, and I want somebody who can work with me side by side to attain those goals.
Okay. Ron, how about you? What's kept you from getting caught for so long?
Well, basically, I think my job is a type of job that I'm on. I've been on the road quite a bit, and I must admit I probably was running before. And since I have gotten a new title, new job change, a new description, I'm going to be not on the road anymore. So basically, I guess I've been running. And of course, I think I'm probably through running, hopefully.
Do you think the surplus of single women of all ages is to your benefit?
Well, I definitely think it's an advantage because, again, basically, I think if you've never been married, I think it's attractive to women to maybe look at a single guy who has not been married before. And I think it's a situation whereas I enjoy dating and I enjoy seeing all different types of women. And I think it's definitely an advantage.
Chuck Siler, how about you? Do you feel like you're at a distinct advantage over most single women who are looking for mates?
I would imagine in view of the statistics, yes. And if only that were the guide, I would have to say yes.
Does that make you choosier when it comes to finding a woman?
I think that came with age more so than anything else. There comes a time when you do slow down, and I think that time actually is what slowed me down, if there's such a thing.
Well, what do you look for in a woman, Chuck? Is age important to you?
Not necessarily, no. It's intelligence, maturity. Goal orientation, I think, if I had to pull that out of the hat from somewhere, I like women who are determined, who know what they want, basically. And I find that it's easier to first establish a dialogue. And I think that's another position that I've reached in terms of time and life.
Well, Will, what about you? What about age? Do you prefer women who are younger than you are, the same age, older than you are?
think basically maturity and the development of that person is what I consider. Age can be misleading. It can be very misleading. So basically, the maturity of the person. Of course, I wouldn't want anyone that I would have to train that would be a child, and I wouldn't want anyone that may see me as a son image or what have you.
So what age range of women do you look at?
If you want to put me on the spot, okay. Between, I would say 27 and 37, in that age bracket.
That's pretty broad age bracket.
Yes, it is, because it gives me a lot of flexibility, and it also, the person gives them room to, some may be established, some may be trying to establish themselves, and I feel like I'm trying to establish myself, so I can choose from that age range, and it's beneficial to me.
So it's important to you to have a professional woman, someone who's been to college?
That, again, that can go both ways, because you can be a professional woman and may not have been to college. So, like I said, compatibility, it means a lot. Someone who is aggressive and has definite sights on something they want to do in life.
How about you, Ron? What attracts you to a woman? Age, looks, profession?
Well, basically a combination of all those things. Age does not make a difference with me. Of course, you do want your wife to look good. You do want her to be a professional person. And I think that professionalism goes hand in hand with what you're doing. I know for myself, I am an aggressive person as far as my business is concerned and as far as LSU basketball is concerned. And I don't think I would very well suit myself if I chose a woman who was not as aggressive. Basically, I know sometimes it presents a problem because I'm a public person, and I know in past times I have dated women and it always has seemed to be a problem because I was a public person, and basically you meet a lot of women and things like that. So basically what I would be looking for is a woman who is secure enough to know that she can stand beside me, not behind me, and of course not in front of me, but she can stand beside me and be just as strong as I can be, and know that, for example, if we happen to go somewhere, and I think women basically flirt a lot, and if we went somewhere, she'd know that we were going to leave together and go home. I couldn't probably tolerate a woman who would always be questioning me about, what was that woman saying? Was she saying something to you? Basically, I would need a woman that was very strong to know that I'm what she wants, she's what I want, and basically we're going to be together and not let petty things get in the way.
Okay, well, what if she makes more money than you?
I have no problem with that whatsoever. You know, I've said that many times. I must not be that lucky, because a couple of my friends have met women who have made more money and they seem to complain. I wouldn't complain at all, because basically maybe I do make enough money to support a wife, but it would definitely be better if she could work also, and that way we'd both have a much better life. So I have no complaints at all about a woman who makes more money than I am. I don't even care how much it is. I have no problem with that at all.
Really, guys?
No.
I don't know about that. Chuck, what do you have to say about that? How important do you think a woman's career should be to her?
I think it's as important as a man's career is to him.
Really?
Yes. I don't think there should be, I think that if you have dedicated the time and the effort to learning how to do something, how to, for example, work in television or write or do whatever, and you put the time into it, you have every right to make demands based on what your career is. I think that what happens with the relationship is that you work to have a good partnership. Then if you do that, it can stand almost anything. But I think that you first of all have to deal with the partner as another, as the other half, the equal being. So then I can't see where I would diminish the person, I think, by demanding something otherwise.
You know, basically, I really feel like I don't even want to deal with a woman who does not have ambitions and goals and a direction of her own. I basically wouldn't even want to deal with a woman who did not have her own career, because, as I've said before, my career is so demanding that I think I would enjoy going to sit and watching my wife, my mate, do what she's doing her thing. I would personally enjoy that myself. In other words, if we were seeing each other, if we were married, I would personally enjoy going and sitting and watching what she does, because it takes a lot of the pressure off of me, and I basically would enjoy what she was doing. So I definitely feel that her career is definitely as important.
How about you, Will? You're kind of shaking your head, but you've been real quiet. What do you think about that?
I agree with that. I'd like to add that, along with that, strong religious values. That's a must with me. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about that because that's the way I am. And it makes a person, give them a sense of togetherness in their life, the spiritual life as well as whatever else they may be involved with. As far as the lady making more money than me, that's fine. As Chuck said, she has a right to pursue her career to the fullest. And I would expect nothing less than that because that's my ambition, to pursue mine. So I'm in agreement with that, and I feel comfortable with a person who wants the best out of life. I think we all deserve it.
Shifting gears a little bit, where can women find you? I mean, where should single women go looking for single men over 30?
I jump in. Actually, I don't think it should have to look. Okay, it's the monkey wrench that goes into it. I think that most people, and when I was younger, I think I looked so hard that I missed most of the good people. And I discovered along the way that when I stopped looking and just endeavored to meet people as I went along the way, that the relationships which did develop, or the friendships even that just came out of them, were far better than those that came about when I was trying to force my way through to, I have to meet somebody, I must do this, I must, when you really didn't.
Okay, but we're giving advice to single women who are looking to meet, to broaden their circles.
Tell me the grocery store.
The grocery store.
The supermarket.
How about you, Ron?
Well,
where can we find you?
They can find me on the basketball court, on the sidelines. I basically will find me at, especially since I've been living in Baton Rouge, there are not a lot of good cultural events. Basically, that's where they can find me most of the time. At any play that's going on in town, of course, I do a little acting and singing myself, but at any play, any cultural, musical event, basically, grocery store is a good place also. And basically, I'm the type of person, like, for example, in Baton Rouge, you have Catfish Town and so forth. That's where they could basically find me at.
Okay, how about you, Will? Where can we find you, or others like you?
Being that I'm a sales representative, I'm always in grocery stores and retail outlets, so I'm always there. I may not be able to give you the time of day because I am working. I think the church is a good place to meet men, for single women out there, and sporting events. That's always a good place.
Okay, ladies, we have to develop an interest in sports. What is your main complaint, Will, about women that you've dated in the past?
Well, to put a finger on it, maybe some they want marriage, but they don't anticipate the ramifications of marriage. They want to get married, but what do I have to do to make sure this thing is going to work? Have I known this person long enough? Do we really enjoy each other? Have we been put to the test, so to speak?
Do you feel that women try to push you into marriage before you're even thinking in that way, or that they are not ready, really?
I think the society says you reach a certain age, you should be married. Now, whether your mentality is of a 13-year-old, you're 25, 26 years old, you may feel you need to be married. That's wrong, because that's not going to work. All that's going to do is contribute to the divorce statistics. I think you have to be ready for it. And that's the major thing. Just be ready. Have your mind made up as far as your career, what type of person you are, and not just put on a show for someone, and then once you're married, it's a whole different ballgame. Having never been married, I'm weary. I'm leery of that.
Okay. Ron, how about you? What is your biggest complaint about single women that you've dated in the past?
Well, basically, my biggest complaint about single women is that there are a number, but if I had to pick one or two, first would be that the majority of the women that I've dated in the past have not, I guess basically I met a couple while I was at school at LSU, and seemingly our goals seem to have shifted in midstream. We both met, were met in school, and we went in different directions. The other problem I have is basically what you call overexposure. Simply is that I live a public life, And basically, a lot of people know me, and I've met women who all they want to do is go out, and all they want to do is show off. And basically, I'm really tired after the basketball game is over, after all the publicity in the newspaper. I basically like to live the quiet afternoons. You know, in other words, we're going to the basketball game, you got a lot of hype, a lot of tension, a lot of nervous things going on. When the game is over, I basically like to retreat to maybe a nice, quiet restaurant where there's not a lot of people. I basically like, when practice is over during the afternoons, I like to go to a quiet place. But what has happened to me is, the majority of the times, I meet those women who want to basically go out and show everybody and tell everybody and things like that. So it's been a big complaint with me, because I always said that the woman that would get me would be the one that simply just let me drift into what her program is. Because there's no doubt about it, women have the upper hand, basically, I think. And so I always felt that the woman that would really have me close to her would be the woman that would sort of let me drift right into her program and me never know it. And basically, when I woke up, I would find out that I was knocked out, and here I was. And basically, that's my biggest complaint. It's like, you know, women do try to force you to do things. They try to keep up with you. That I might not necessarily want to do. And like I said, in my case, it's the overexposure, because when things are over for me, I want to be quiet, and I want to just take a ride in the park, or go to a quiet place, and things like that.
Chuck, do you have a complaint about women that you've dated in the past?
Do I have a complaint about women that I've dated in the past? Some, yes. I think they tend to run along the same lines, though, as the others that have been said. I think there has, over a period of years, I saw a lot less sensitivity on the part of women. And I think for a long period of time, it made me decide to sit back and observe more than be extremely active in terms of pursuit.
What do you mean?
I found that I had to actually wait and make a determination as to what the woman wanted. Because sometimes the things that they wanted were things that they had heard they should have over and over and over again. And they had nothing to do they had nothing to do with reality. Whereas the simplest thing that they could do was say, okay, this is a potential partner. Where is our common ground? You know, would I like to spend time doing this or doing that with the person? As opposed to saying, well, this person looks the part because he's tall, or he has a nice voice, or he dresses well, or he drives a certain type of car. When the same potential is there, and you may have to, I think, investigate the priorities. And I think a lot of women fail sometimes to investigate their priorities in light of reality.
Ron, you're shaking your head enthusiastically.
Just to reiterate what Chuck was saying, I think that happens to me a lot. Maybe a woman may see that you are tall, that you do drive a certain car, you do wear certain clothes, and basically what happens is they stereotype you immediately. Immediately they stereotype you, and if that's the way you are. Then of course, I've been a victim of a lot of times hearing little trickles of things that the way you're supposed to be that you really are not.
Well, I have a question. What makes you not call a woman back? Say you go out and you have a nice time on the surface, but for some reason you just don't call. And when she calls you, you avoid it, and I'm sure it's happened to you. What makes you not call back?
You know what, basically I really try to call them back. I basically really try to, because just to show genuine concern that just because we are not going to make it, you know, as a relationship type situation, I still would like to be friends. So basically I do try to call them back. I do try to make it more than a one date, a one night situation. I basically do try to call them back.
How about sex on the first date? Is anybody, I mean, is that something that you expect being a rare single man over 30?
You know what, I'm gonna be truthful. I did at one time. I really did. I really thought that was a necessity. But I'd like to, basically the last 5 years or so, it really has become not even important at all, because basically women today are really aggressive, and basically now that's not even a concern. And like I said, I have to admit that at one time it was, but now it's not.
Will, how about you? You definitely have something to say about that.
To further comment on that, to show you how things have changed over the years, I think most women expect that. With the ratio being what it is, most women seem to think that if we get along real well, and maybe this will be the clincher to
right.
assure that I will see this person again. And
Does it work?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's the quality of the person, the content. It's broad in scope. Sex is not it's not going to be the common denominator that makes the relationship work.
How about for you, Chuck?
I think the real common denominator lies somewhere in that intellectual combination that happens when you meet the right person.
Exactly.
Sex is fine, and I wouldn't want to kick that out. But I think over a period of time, your priorities, again, you know, keep saying priorities, your priorities change. When you're young, you tend to be much more involved in activity. As you grow a bit older, you find out that you sometimes waste a lot of energy with excess activity. So you look for quality. And so when you start looking for quality, quality has something more to do than just a one-night stand or someone who will fall into bed with you immediately. It has to do with whether you can have a conversation with the woman, whether you can agree on things, or if you disagree, if you can find a common ground for having discourse. But I think we've reached a point in time with all things considered, diseases and everything else, that is discourse before intercourse.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and I hope that all of you find what you're looking for. We've been talking to 3 of Louisiana's most eligible bachelors who say that you can find them at the grocery store. And that's it for today's show. Be sure to join us next week. Bye-bye.